Have you ever just, stopped to wonder why an hour has exactly 60 minutes? Or why a day has precisely 24 hours? It seems almost arbitrary, doesn't it? Like someone
Yeah.
just sort of picked those numbers and said, yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm.
But the truth is, it's not random at all. The story behind how we divide up our day goes back thousands of years. It's all tied up with ancient civilizations, how they watched the stars, and even the number systems they used. So today we're going to do a deep dive into this really fascinating history. We want to figure out how humans first started slicing up time into the system you still use every single day. Ready to unpack this?
Absolutely. And what's truly amazing is just how deep these ancient choices run in our modern lives. We really don't think about them. Long before clocks, way before watches, people had this huge challenge. How do you track time beyond just sunrise and sunset with basically nothing but the sky? It really forced them to be incredible observers.
That makes sense. Yeah, ancient people were the first timekeepers, using the heavens as their clock.
Yeah.
They looked for the most reliable patterns, right? The sun's movement, the moon's phases, the stars.
Exactly. Those were the most accurate tools they had.
They could track days, nights, seasons, all of that.
Hmm.
And some units seem pretty obvious, like a day is clearly sunrise to sunrise. A month, that clearly follows the moon.
Yep, the lunar cycle.
And a year, well, the seasons changing, Earth going around the sun.
Pretty straightforward, those larger cycles.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. How do you divide just one day into smaller bits? Consistent bits everyone agrees on. That seems much trickier.
It was, and that's exactly where the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians and the Babylonians really comes into play.
Okay, so let's start with the Egyptians. What was their contribution?
Right. So about 4,000 years ago, the Egyptians made a really crucial step. They were using sundials, shadow clocks to measure time during the day, and they decided to divide the daylight into 12 parts.
12. Okay, hold on. Why 12? That feels specific, especially when we're so used to 10.
That's a great question, and it likely comes down to practicality. Historians think this came from their duodecimal system.
Duodecimal, base 12.
Exactly, a number system based on 12. And the theory is it came from something really simple, like literally counting on one hand. You use your thumb to count the segments on your forefinger.
Oh, 3 segments per finger. Index, middle, ring, pinky.
Right. Count them up 1, 2, 3 on the first, 4, 5, 6, you get to 12.
Wow, that's incredibly practical. I can see how that would be useful for trading, dividing things.
Precisely. It made 12 a really handy number for everyday stuff. Halves, thirds, quarters, easy with 12.
Okay, that's daylight sorted into 12 parts. Ingenious. But what about night? Sundials don't work in the dark.
Good point. No, they needed another system. And this is where their astronomy skills were key. At night, they tracked 12 specific star groups. They called them decans.
Decans. And the
Yeah.
constellations.
Sort of, yeah. Specific stars are small groups that rose sequentially, one after the other, throughout the night. Each decan rising marked another passage of time. It was like a giant star clock.
So they used those to mark another 12 segments for the night.
That's the idea. 12 parts for the day, 12 parts for the night.
Giving us 24 in total for a full day-night cycle.
Exactly. It was a conceptual framework, not yet precise hours like we think of them, but it set the stage for the 24-hour day.
Amazing. So our 24-hour day comes from Egyptian finger counting and stargazing. Mind blown.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't explain the minutes and seconds. Where did the 60 come from?
Right. For that piece of the puzzle, we need to shift focus. Let's head over to Mesopotamia, to the Babylonians. They were around roughly the same time, also about 4,000 years ago, and they were absolute masters of maths and astronomy using a completely different system.
The sexagesimal system,
Yeah.
right, based on 60.
That's the one.
But again, why 60 seems like, well, a big, complicated number to base everything on. Why not 10 or even 12 like the Egyptians?
It seems complicated to us, maybe, because we're so used to base 10, but mathematically, 60 is actually incredibly versatile. Think about how many numbers divide evenly into it.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Keep going. 10, 12, 15, 20, 30.
Wow, okay. Lots.
A lot.
Yeah.
Compare that to 10, which is only divisible by 2 and 5. For ancient astronomers doing complex calculations, dealing with fractions, angles, circles, 60 was just much, much easier to work with.
It avoided messy fractions.
Pretty much. It made calculations cleaner, more elegant, especially for geometry. A circle having 360 degrees, that's 6 times 60. It all fits.
So it was just a more powerful mathematical tool for them.
You could say that. They were already using base 60 for lots of things, trade, astronomy, math.
So when it came to dividing time more finely.
It just made sense to apply the system they already knew and trusted. It slotted right in.
Okay, so Egyptians give us the 24-hour structure, Babylonians provide the base 60 framework. How did they actually merge? Did the Babylonians just start saying an hour has 60 bits?
Not quite so directly, and not immediately. It was more of a gradual fusion over centuries. Later civilizations, particularly the Greeks, like the astronomers Hipparchus and Ptolemy, they inherited and built upon both Egyptian and Babylonian knowledge.
Ah, the Greeks synthesized it.
They played a huge role, yeah. They adopted the 24-hour day and used the Babylonian base 60 system for their astronomical calculations, dividing degrees into minutes and seconds of arc. Then the Romans helped spread these ideas.
So the concepts were floating around.
Hmm.
But when did we get actual minutes and seconds of time?
That came much, much later. Really, it needed mechanical clocks. Around the 14th century in Europe, when the first complex mechanical clocks started appearing.
Those were the game changers.
Absolutely, because suddenly you could measure time consistently, independent of the sun or stars. An hour could finally be a fixed length.
Right. Before that, an hour wasn't fixed, was it? A summer daylight hour was longer than a winter one.
Exactly. You're spot on. Those early Egyptian hours were unequal, varying with the seasons. Mechanical clocks allowed for equal hours, and the clockmakers needed smaller, precise units. That's when they formally adopted the Babylonian base 60 divisions for time.
And that's where the words come from.
Mm-hmm. Minute comes from the Latin pars minuta prima, the first small part of the hour, and second.
Let me guess. Pars minuta secunda.
You got it. The second small part, a division of the minute, all built on that ancient base 60 system.
That's just layers upon layers of history and just telling time. Incredible. But it does make you wonder, like I was thinking earlier, we live in a decimal world now. Metric system, computers, everything's based in it. Why haven't we switched time? Why not say a 10-hour day, 100 minutes per hour? It seems logical. Did anyone ever try?
Oh, they definitely tried. And it was a serious attempt, too. During the French Revolution, late 1700s.
Ah, the revolutionaries. They tried to rationalize everything, didn't they?
They certainly did. Weights, measures, the calendar, and time. They introduced decimal time.
What did that look like?
It was exactly what you suggested. A day divided into 10 decimal hours. Each hour had 100 decimal minutes, and each minute had 100 decimal seconds.
Sounds neat on paper.
Did it work?
Not at all. It was a complete flop.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Just people resisting change.
Partly, perhaps. But it was more than that. It was just confusing, deeply unpopular. Think about it. Every clock, every schedule, every ingrained habit about how long things take, suddenly useless.
Yeah, trying to figure out what time it really is.
Right. And crucially, it just didn't connect with the natural rhythms, the astronomical observations that the 2460 system, despite its quirks, was fundamentally based on. This felt artificial, imposed. It only lasted about 2 years before they scrapped it.
Wow. So the old system just had too much inertia, too much history. Exactly. The 24-hour, 60-minute system had been around for millennia. It was woven into culture, science, navigation, everything. Changing it would have been like, I don't know, trying to change the direction rivers flow. Way too disruptive. So, yeah. Today, we're still using this incredible hybrid system born from ancient Egyptian and Babylonian ingenuity. It's a living testament to how choices made thousands of years ago still shape our world.
Okay, let's quickly recap this deep dive for everyone listening. We get our 24 hours in a day primarily from the ancient Egyptians. They divided daylight into 12 parts, maybe using figure joint counting, and night into 12 parts using the decan stars.
Mm-hmm. Day and night combined.
And the 60 minutes in an hour, plus the 60 seconds in a minute.
That comes from the ancient Babylonians and their super useful base 60 number system, perfect for math and astronomy.
Which was then adopted by the Greeks and Romans and finally solidified with mechanical clocks in the Middle Ages.
That's the essence of it.
And this ancient mashup just stuck, even surviving attempts, like in revolutionary France, to replace it. It shapes the very clocks and calendars you rely on constantly.
It really does. So maybe the next time you check your watch or look at the clock on your phone, just take a second. Remember, you're not just seeing numbers. You're interacting with a system thousands of years in the making. A direct line back to ancient observers in Egypt and mathematicians in Mesopotamia figuring things out. It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? What other parts of our modern world are actually echoes? Echoes of clever, practical solutions worked out by our very distant ancestors hiding in plain sight.